Hello. Yossi Media, in partnership with the American Heart Association, is proud to present a conversation on hands-only CPR, sponsored by Elevance. Hands-only CPR is a crucial skill that can save lives during cardiac emergencies. It's simple, effective, and easy to learn. In the United States, thousands of people suffer cardiac arrest outside of hospitals every year. Immediate CPR can double or even triple their chances of survival. Today, we're here to empower you with the knowledge and confidence to act in these critical moments. Every second counts when someone's heart stops, and your actions can make all the difference. We encourage you to join the nation of lifesavers. You could be the difference between life and death for someone experiencing a cardiac event.
On today's show, our CPR trainer, Quay Childress, CPR rescuer, Kelly Allen Gray, and CPR recipient and survivor, Monique Lowe. They will share their insights, personal stories, and practical tips to help you become a lifesaver.
Stay tuned as we discuss the importance of hands-only CPR, demonstrate the techniques, and inspire you to get trained. Your heart health matters, and together, we can make a difference. Thanks again to our sponsor, Elevance. With the support of the Elevance Health Foundation, we worked to address health inequalities and strengthen our communities across the country. And now, here's Sybil.
Hi there, I'm Sybil Wilkes, and welcome to Check In and Check Up for Your Health. This is the CPR edition. What is CPR? It is a necessary action that we should all learn. Did you know, in fact, a couple of different things? First of all, heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Killer of women. It's not breast cancer, it's not a broken heart, but it is in a sense because cardiac disease is very serious, and a lot of times a death can be prevented if we learn the right steps, and that includes learning how to do hands-only CPR. And we're here today with some incredible women to talk about hands-only CPR. What is it? How do we do it? And how has it saved other people's lives? That's really important. First of all, let's join our guests here and welcome in Quay, who is going to teach us how to do hands-only CPR. Monique, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us. You are going to tell us your story. You are a survivor. And then our friend Kelly Allen Gray is here. And Kelly, you have saved someone's life with CPR.
Yes.
How great is that? We got us all right here. I'm just going to ask the questions, but they are going to tell us their stories. And Quay is going to show us how we can do this to save the lives of others. So stay with us. It's probably one of the most important shows you're ever going to watch, that you're ever going to be a part of. And knowing this, I'm going to give you a couple of other facts. First of all, not only is cardiac disease the #1 killer of women, but we are also those who are most likely to die from a cardiac event if no one is there to help us with CPR. About 40% of Black women and Hispanic women will die away from a medical facility because no one is aware of how to do CPR. If we know it, we can save so many lives. And if people around you know it, they may be able to save your life as well. So let's get started and let's talk about this. And so, Quay, I just want to thank you and just introduce yourself a little bit because Quay is not only a CPR instructor, but you also work with the American Heart Association.
That's right. And Sybil, I just want to make sure that I take the time to thank you. It's platforms like yours that give American Heart Association a voice to where we're able to share hands-only CPR. And we've done this for years and years. And also with the partnership of Elevance Health Foundation.
Yes.
Through them, we've been with them since 2012, Sybil.
Wow.
I know. So with that, over 11 million people have learned the skills that we're going to learn today.
My God. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So even more about me, I am also a product marketing manager at the National Center of the American Heart Association.
Okay.
So I'm in a department called ECC, which is a fancy term for Emergency Cardiovascular Care, which is CPR.
Wow. Well, CPR, I thought it was hard enough saying cardiopulmonary resuscitation, but you see, like, okay, all right, cool. How long you been doing this?
Oh, I've been with the AHA for almost a decade now.
Wow.
Yes.
And so how did you decide to become an instructor? Because that seems to be a lot of responsibility.
It is. It truly is. So I was on Heart Walk team. I've been on different teams within the association. And then when I got back to the National Center, because I started out as an intern. So I got back to the National Center, I saw this department called ECC. And I said, what is that? And so as I've gone through the department and understand the importance of hands-only CPR and CPR and how it affects Black and brown people like us, especially women, I had to learn it. I had to be able to share that with others who look like us and who don't look like us.
So let's talk about hands-only CPR, because a lot of people get freaked out, if you will, and want to know, oh, I don't want to be kissing on nobody, I don't want, and all this other kind of stuff. This is only thing you need to touch is your hand on someone else's body. It's probably going to be closed too. Never mind. So it is really important that, we make that distinction.
That's right. That's right. So you do have two types of CPR. You do have the conventional, which is, doing the compressions with your breaths, the 30-2 situation, but you have the hands only, which we're talking about today. And the reason why that works is because when you go into cardiac arrest and the heart stops, you are externally pumping that oxygenated blood by way of pumping the heart.
Okay.
Exactly. And so that's why it works. We have about, who you ask, we have about 8 minutes of oxygenated blood in our bodies. So when that heart stops, you're pumping that oxygenated blood, which is important because you're keeping those vital organs alive,
right,
like your brain.
Right. Well, some of it's not so vital. But can you talk about the difference, or if there is one, between cardiac arrest and a heart attack?
There's a big difference. I'm so glad you're asking that, because when we see heart attack, really truly anything related to the heart, we say heart attack, right? And you see in the movies where somebody, oh, my chest, and it's a big deal, which sometimes that is exactly.
Or if you're old enough, you remember Fred Sanford, and grabbing on,
Exactly. So the heart attack is what we like to call a plumbing issue. So there's blockage somewhere. Cardiac arrest is an electric issue. And so your heart pumps, boom, 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 boom. We say lift up, lift up, lift up. And something happens to where your heart's quivering now. So it's not pumping that oxygenated blood through your body. So that's the difference. One, it's a blockage. The other, which we're talking about today, cardiac arrest, is electrical malfunction in the heart.
Right. But no matter what you do, you can help them, whether they're having a heart attack or a cardiac arrest, by doing the hands-only CPR?
Not quite.
Okay.
So with a heart attack, let's say it like this. If you start trying to do compressions on someone who's having a heart attack, they're going to tell you to stop.
Oh, okay.
Because they are alert enough to tell you, hey, this hurts, man. What are you doing?
Right.
But if somebody has a cardiac arrest and you tap them and you're trying to see if, they're responding in any way, kind of scan to see if they're breathing, they may have kind of shallow breathing. But then that's when you press hard and fast in the center of the chest.
Right. And do the number of compressions. We're going to do all of that, the song that's in your head and doing all of that. But one of the other things too is to immediately get somebody at 911 to help you through this, right?
That's exactly right. So the AHA always says there's 2 steps to save a life.
Okay.
1 is call 911, and 2 is press hard and fast in the center of the chest. Easy, right?
It sounds easy. I mean, and it will be once we get accustomed to it,
That's exactly
this
right.
becomes of our activity. All right. So you, young lady, Monique Lowe, you have an incredible story. You are a survivor of cardiac arrest.
Yes.
What happened? Well, first of all, you don't look old enough to have had a heart attack. You look incredible.
To God be the glory.
Amen.
I was working on my job, just a typical day at work. I actually had just come back from lunch, went into the restroom feeling okay, maybe a little tired, but nothing major. I was taking selfies of myself in the restroom.
See,
that's how cute I thought I was looking,
Uh-huh.
And as I came out of the restroom, I was headed back to my desk, and I heard later that coworker said I just fell to the floor. And everybody was in shock. Nobody knew what to do. Everybody just stood there. And then someone walked up and said, call 911. Once paramedics arrived, which was fairly close to where I was working, thank God, I had no heartbeat. I had no pulse. They immediately administered CPR on me right there on the floor of my job. My heart began to kind of pump up, and they put me in the paramedics truck, and my heart stopped again. So they had to do CPR again on me. And as we went to the hospital, they immediately put me on life support. They told my husband that if I made it, I wouldn't probably remember anyone. I would probably be a vegetable because they didn't know how long I didn't have oxygen to the brain.
Sure.
I was placed in a coma. I was there for quite some time, almost 30 days. The chaplain actually came to my husband and told my family to say their goodbyes because there was nothing else that they could do. And at this particular hospital, they weren't equipped to even do anything for me. So they had to ship me to Dallas to another hospital. And on the way there, they had someone in the paramedics truck doing what she was just speaking about all the way there. And once I got there, they just told my husband, you know, we're going to see what we can do. She's not out the woods, but because of her age, I was 40 at the time, then we may be able, but it doesn't look good. Long story short, I was on life support. I had to have a trach in my throat, fading through a tube. My heart rate was at 2%, and a normal person's heart rate is from 50 to 70%.
Sure.
I don't have a lot of recognition of what happened.
Sure.
But once I did come back, they did tell me that I had to have a defibrillator placed in me that I will have to have for the rest of my life. And I just have to watch my blood pressure because that is exactly what caused the heart to stop and go out of rhythm, because my blood pressure was so high that I didn't even know it because we don't have signs. You know, I'm just walking around thinking I'm cute. But my blood pressure was sky high to where it decreased the heart. Stopped it completely. But you know, thank God that I'm here. I have a limp in my step now because of all the surgeries that I had. They had to freeze my body. And they just did what they could do, but God did the rest, and I'm here to tell the story. And I just encourage women to check your numbers, get that blood pressure checked out, because we don't have a lot of signs of it.
And the other part is that the EMT people were close enough to you, to your job, so that they could start the CPR.
Yes.
Not immediately, but very close to when it happened.
Yes, as soon as but had one of our coworkers known CPR, they could have started administering it on me until the paramedics arrived. And that's why CPR is so imperative, so important.
And if I may, so the statistic is that every minute that somebody goes down, has cardiac arrest, and somebody doesn't step in, every minute your chance of survival goes down 10%.
My goodness.
So if you were laying there for 5 minutes, your chance of survival is now at 50%. Exactly.
Look at you do that, big girl.
I know it.
All right. Okay. So as a result of this, Monique, have you encouraged people on your job to learn CPR and to be CPR qualified?
Absolutely. Well, I'm disabled now, so I don't work. However, I do work with the community, with the churches, and I speak on lots of platforms telling and encouraging women like us to check your numbers, check your inside. We don't just have to check our outside, because you may look good on the outside. However, what's inside is what counts. And to check your numbers. I tell women, when you go to put your makeup on in the morning, go check your blood pressure. Check your numbers.
Monique, you're a volunteer.
Yes.
And you go around and it's your mission.
Yes.
Now to inform women like you to check their numbers, which And as Dr. Quay here has reminded us, I like to just, because you know so darn much. But you really do tell people that you're a victim of a silent killer, high blood pressure.
That is exactly true. That is the cause. That's the root of what happened to my heart. The blood pressure controls everything.
Yeah.
And we don't get signs when our blood pressure is up. And it could be triggered from something we eat, which I've changed my total diet. I've learned to exercise more. And those are other things that I tell women to incorporate in their livelihood.
Such as, like,
walking.
Okay, walking.
Walking as much as you can, even just 20 to 30 minutes a day is all you need as far as walking, watching what we eat, and definitely checking our numbers. We have to.
I'm just curious, what do you miss the most?
In regards to fried chicken.
Nothing fried, right?
I do have it occasionally.
Okay, we
but
won't
before that happened, I had it too much. And I'm, everything in moderations. Yeah, so I still have it occasionally, but just high in salt. Anything high in salt is not good for us. And we have to watch our cholesterol, of course. And so now I'm on medication and I check my numbers and I watch what I eat.
And do you tell people that they could give you a heart attack at any moment to ease up on you?
I don't. What I do say is don't make my defibrillator go off. Because it's actually gone off twice since I've had it and it is not fun. It's not cool at all.
And what did you do?
The first time I was so much in shock because I wasn't educated on what happens when it comes. And it feels like a horse is kicking you in the back and it comes out of nowhere. So I just went to the hospital and they checked it and everything, but they told me, you really don't have to come to the hospital. You just sit down and relax and it'll go away. But I'm going to.
I'm coming. Yeah, that's
Yes.
what you're here for.
Exactly. But the thing about the defibrillator, it's good to have because if it happens again, of course, it'll shock my heart back into rhythm. However, my downfall on that is I have to get the battery changed every 6 to 8 years. And that's surgery. And this is something that I'm going to have to do forever. So mentally, that kind of bothers you, but God continues to show me that I'm covered, I'm a miracle, and I'm here to give him the glory.
So if I'm not mistaken, the machinery, the defibrillator, is just right under the skin.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, near your heart.
Correct.
Okay. I had an uncle who had it, and he showed me a scar, but it wasn't that exciting. But it's not invasive.
It's not invasive. The thing about it is a lot of people get the defibrillator confused with a pacemaker.
Got it.
And they're two separate things,
Okay.
just like a heart attack and cardiac arrest.
Got it. Okay.
The defibrillator is just more or less of when I do get it, the battery changed, they're just cutting the skin, taking it out, putting the battery in and putting it back, and then sewing me back up. So it's not
blow it off or anything?
I have no idea because I'm under. I'm absolutely out,
Yeah.
which is like, I don't
good.
like that, but they have to do it. I am praying, and I've heard cardiologists say that there will be a lifetime battery in the future. So that's what I'm praying.
Better safe than sorry.
Right.
I'm going to come in every 5 years, Doc. I'm not even going to wait for 6 or 8.
Yes.
What a story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me. And like she said, I piggyback on that. Thank you for this platform and giving this knowledge because it's so needed. I think every household should have a CPR class so they can know. I keep my grandchildren and I'm like, what do I do if something happens to them? I'm not even going to know. So thank you and thank you.
And before we get to Kelly, let's talk about, speaking of equipment, what is the AED?
An AED is an automated external defibrillator.
Okay.
And so we'll see it sometimes at maybe airlines or,
They take up a lot of room in the overhead,
yeah.
overhead compartments.
Right. That's right. Or at airports, rather, is what I meant. So a lot of times they'll have a heart with a little lightning bolt in there. And what that does is externally, it provides a shock through you to your heart in hopes that that quivering that's happening because of your cardiac arrest, it resets it and starts it again. Very, very important. However, as you were saying in the beginning, that about 70% of cardiac arrests that happen don't happen in the hospital.
Right.
They're out of hospital cardiac arrests. So that means you're at work.
Yes.
It means you're at the park, you're at the movies, whatever the case may be. But of that 70%, less than 5% of those cardiac arrests use an AED.
Wow.
But if you use an AED within the first minute of a cardiac arrest, your chances of survival are 90%.
How can we, is it expensive to have?
The prices are coming down. So we do have a number of
So
people.
it's like the old VCR. It used to cost like $1,000. How do you get one? Well, now they just give them away, but it is coming down.
That's right. The
Okay.
prices are coming down, and the AHA is doing so much work to be able to provide AEDs within the community. So if some and companies as well, companies are partnering with us, understanding the need of an AED so that they have them there. They're training their employees on how to use an AED, and it's super simple. We'll learn. But yes, they're becoming even more available, which is great.
And is this anything like what they show on, I don't know, Grey's Anatomy, and they clip and then they clear and the paddles and all that? Is it all of that?
So funny enough, the AED, that's funny. The ones that are actually in the community were designed for people like us. So it's as simple as turning it on, locating it, turning it on, and letting it tell you what to do.
AED for dummies. Okay. Not you guys. I'm just talking about Kellyanne Gray, you helped save someone's life. What happened?
I did. It was Saturday, March 2007. It was the end of spring break for my niece, who was her first year in college. So it was her first spring break, and it was the beginning of the other kids' spring break in my family. And so we're at my sister's house, and we're just hanging out. And my mom, who lives just a couple of blocks away, she comes over on her walker, and we're like, "Mom, you know, why didn't you call us? We would have come and picked you up." And she says, "No, I just wanted to get out of the house, and I knew y'all were all here." So she sits down at the kitchen table, and we're sitting there, and we're laughing, talking, have had some lunch, just hanging out. And my mom is sitting there at the head of the table, and all of a sudden her eyes roll back, and she starts to fall forward. And it was just, you know, how you don't think about what is happening. Everyone just started moving. And my sister, who is the most dramatic of my sisters, she dialed 911. My other sister moved all of the kids to the back of the house, and I caught my mom, and down on the floor we went. When I was in high school, my first job that I had was I was a lifeguard. I'm a Black woman who likes to swim. I don't care about my hair. I love the water. And so I was a lifeguard. So we had to do CPR
So you
training.
learned it then?
I did. And I was 16 years old. I have never done CPR. And until the other day, I had never even talked about this. So I'm doing CPR on my mom. I'm breathing into her mouth, and I'm pushing, I'm breathing, I'm pushing, I'm breathing, I'm pushing. I can hear in the background my sister arguing with the 911 operator, because the 911 operator can hear the kid. And she's more focused on the kids crying and screaming than my sister saying, "Hey,
My mama's down here.
Yeah, we need
somebody
help."
over. Yeah.
And so my mom came too. And about the time my mom was coming around, the ambulance, the paramedics were They were coming through the door. And so I moved out of the way. And it was just the most surreal a moment. And it was so out of body, because I don't think I had ever thought about whatever I learned, when I was 16 years
Which
old.
was just a few years ago.
Yeah, that was
so
a long
still.
time ago, but I'll take it, right? So, but I didn't think, and you think it's stored, it felt like when someone says, when you say when you're a kid, I'm never going to use this whatever math it is, and then some random day that math just comes back to you. And that's what it felt like. That's really and truly what it felt like. And so I rode to the hospital, in the back of the ambulance with my mom. And
I saved your life.
well, at that moment, we were all really scared, so I didn't say it then. But but we did say it later in the week, right?
Who's your
as a
favorite
joke.
child?
Yeah, right. And it's so funny because we were saying, Mom, when you come home from the hospital, I want tea cakes. And my sister was saying, no, we don't want tea cakes. We want salmon croquettes. And so I said, I saved your life. I get tea cakes, And so so ultimately, I mean, it was a crazy moment, but that was.
Was that like muscle memory for you? Almost it's something that you had, like you said, it'd been a few years since you had learned it, and so did it come back to you?
It just flowed. There was no thought to it. It was literally no thought of, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? It was just, she was falling forward, and
it was your mom.
And it was my mama. It was my mama.
It was your mom.
Yeah.
Speaking of CPR training, how often do you recommend people come back and re-up or, get a short little catch-up session?
Absolutely. So normally if you go through an actual CPR course, it's 2 years, every 2 years. But we've also seen about after 3 months, some of those high quality compressions, the quality of it goes down.
Mm-hmm.
So every 3 months, just get on a mannequin. Get your family. We have all type of kits and free kits and resources and whatnot. But just practice it every 3 months so that those compressions are still high quality.
Let me go to my closet and pull out my mannequin. Okay, no problem.
Right.
But you gonna store a mannequin.
And I'll show you all later on, but the AHA does have these kind of take-home kits that you can blow up and use
That's
them
for a
between your
whole
family.
different thing there, Quay. That's not what we're talking about here, is it? Okay. I try to lighten the mood because this is a serious subject, but just to know, like every 3 months. So let me ask you this, Kelly Ellen Gray, did you go and did you re-up and learn proper CPR techniques after?
No, because until just right now, I didn't know I was supposed to.
Mhm.
I was a lifeguard that summer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next summer, I did something else. And then,
Sure.
I just kind of moved on.
But it came back
It
to
did.
you.
It
Awesome.
did.
Did you have a song in your head? Because that's something else,
No.
right? So,
No.
right, when you're doing the compressions,
That's right.
what's your song?
So mine is probably the new. So I'm a Beyonce fan. Okay. So your compressions are 100 to 100 beats per minute. We don't know what that means, right? So we always tie it to a song. So historically, AHA has always tied it to Staying Alive, right? But mine is the new Texas Hold'em by Beyonce.
Go
So
ahead.
that falls
Show
in
it out
between
there. Okay.
the 100, 120.
100 and 120 beats a minute. Okay. Well, we're going to take a break and we're going to show how this all happens. You're going to bring the mannequins from your closet and you're going to show us and we'll get an idea. And Monique, you'll get an idea. You'll be reacquainted here, Kelly Allen Gray. And so we'll all learn. And I have been trained, not in hands only, but in the whole thing, but it's been more than 3 months. So I need a refresher course.
Let's do it.
Okay. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Check In and Check Up for Your Health. I'm Sybil Wilkes, and we are here. Actually, you're at Yogi's Yoga. You may have heard about it, but we have a yoga studio, and we are using the space here to learn how to do CPR. That is what we're here for. And we have our instructor, Quay. And Quay, you're going to show us how to do this. We have a man and a woman, because there are differences. We are endowed in different ways. And this, sometimes will impede our progress maybe. But you're going to show us the difference, as well as, and it's very quick, but we're also going to talk about using the AED.
That's right.
Right?
That's
the electronic
automated
device.
Yes, automated external defibrillator.
Okay.
AED.
I'm going to need that in a Jeopardy question one day, so I'm going to hold on to that. So let's get started, and then we'll continue our conversation. But let's get started with this. Where would you like to start?
Sure thing. So, as I've been saying, there's 2 steps to save a life. 1, call 911. 2, press hard and fast in the center of the chest. And we have 2 mannequins here. 1 male, as you said, and 1 female.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of questions that we get is, okay, the reason why actually we get these questions about females is because there is this stigma. People already don't want to do CPR.
Mm-hmm.
So we said, okay, per the science, hands-on CPR works. So you don't have the mouth, right?
Unless you're just lonely.
And then when you're female, there's some type of stigma around it with touching breast. Everybody say it, breast. We have breasts. It is okay, right?
Fellas, we have breasts.
That's right. Especially when you are saving a life. I'm telling you, if I go down, if my mom goes down, if my grandma goes down, neither one of us is going to care, right? And then on top of that, so we already don't want to do CPR. So we can do hands-on CPR. Mm-hmm. Then if you're a female, you already have a stigma. So think about when you're adding if you're a Black woman and what that looks like. So that's why this is important. Because
you want people who look like you, know what you're doing and feeling and all of this, to have, I guess there's some sort of empathy that may be involved in this, as well as there is, I don't want to say it's an ignorance, but there is something about being able to help your own, right? And not to mess up their hair too. Okay, so where do we start? All righty. So, like I said, 2 steps to save a life. You're all going to get this by the time we leave. Everybody's going to get this. Mm-hmm. Call 911, press hard and fast in the center of the chest. But outside of that, if you see a teen or adult go down, so they're there at the table, they're at work, and they just drop, first you want to assess the scene. Make sure there's no electrical or anything, that happens. When as we're walking up, we're kind of observing and making sure. And then you want to tap and shout, hey, are you okay? Are you okay? See if they're responding to you in any way. Maybe they just fell out. Maybe whatever the case may be. If you tap them hard enough, they're going to show some signs if they're not in cardiac arrest. So don't worry about it. And then from there, you want to point at somebody and say, call 911. We have got to activate the chain of survival, which means we got to get EMTs here. And then from there, pressing hard and fast in the center of the chest. Did you have to do that, or your family knew just to call 911, or did your superwoman come out, or do you remember?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I don't. I think everyone started just kind of moving.
And somebody took care of those loud kids too, didn't they?
Yeah. Locked them in a room.
All right, so where do we start?
Let's do it. All righty. So first thing that you do want to do is, just in case somebody goes down on the bed, you want to get them on a hard, flat surface. So, and it's okay if you got to drag them and they hit their leg or something like that. Clinically, they're out of there. They're gone. They're deceased. So if they have a bruise on their leg, I promise you they're going to get over it, right? All right. So now you have them flat on the ground. You assess the scene. You've made someone call 911. Now it's time to get on the chest. All righty. So what you want to do is, I like to take my dominant hand, I'm right-handed, and I like to put it right in the center. You're going to do between the nipples. Everybody say it with me. Nipples. Nipples. It's okay. Everybody got nipples for the most part. Okay. So now You're 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 putting it right in the center of the chest, and you're pressing hard and fast.
So go ahead with Texas Hold'em.
You want me to sing?
Yeah,
That's not one of my talents. Okay.
Come on.
Just sing Texas. You know. So lay your cards down, 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 down. Right? That's 100 to 120 beats per minute.
Can you do that with Too Short?
You know what? There's a few songs. We actually have a playlist. It's called "Oh, Don't Drop the Beat." It's on Spotify, and it has everybody from Patti LaBelle to Taylor Swift to Beyonce.
And the one I learned was Staying Alive.
Staying Alive.
Staying alive. Staying alive. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
That's exactly right. And so, y'all see how easy and simple that is? Keep your arms straight, right in the middle of the chest, down and up. Just like that. Now, I won't say it does get tiring. It does, because you are externally pumping that heart. But it's so simple to be.
So what if it does exhaust you?
Yes. So if there is somebody, you can teach somebody within 10 seconds.
Tap out.
That's
and
right.
You say, okay, it's your turn.
You just switch.
Okay.
Now you want to make sure that you're keeping those compressions going.
Mhm.
Exactly. So if I'm on the chest and I say, okay, Sybil, I'm getting tired. My quality is going down.
I got you.
You're on.
And I go and do it. Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
For the woman, we're going to do that as well. But what about children?
Yes, that's important. So when you have an infant, it's a little bit different.
Sure.
An infant is different. It ranges from, your 2 fingers on the chest, but also if an infant is going into cardiac arrest or something going on there, a lot of times they are going to need breaths. So we like to teach all of those details in our CAR credential courses.
Got it. Okay. Brush your teeth and little children. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's try with the woman and see words you've never heard say. Me. But let's try this. See.
All right. Let's do it.
Can we move this?
Absolutely. All righty. So I am going to have you see her go down.
Mm-hmm.
We got her down on a flat surface. Now I want you to assess the scene first.
Oh.
You see any wires? See any trouble going on here?
No.
No. All right. Now let's tap and shout.
Hello. Can you hear me? Look like an old girlfriend of mine. No, we're good.
Okay. Good? Okay. She didn't say nothing back, did she?
No, because if she did, we're in trouble.
All righty. Now I want you to put your dominant hand out right in the center of the chest. You'll see her nipples there, right in the center.
Okay.
Put your other hand on top. Now what you want to do is make sure you are on top with your arms straight. That way you're using all of your upper body. Down, up.
You know what we didn't do?
What's that?
Call 911!
That was a test.
Did I pass?
You passed.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, any wires? No. Call 911!
On top of her, arms straight.
Staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive.
There you go.
Staying alive.
Now, the only thing looks great. Looks great.
Thank you, teacher.
There is something that we call a recoil. So sometimes people, it's the wrong way to do it, folks. Sometimes you'll go down and then you're kind of here. If you think about it, that heart, when you get off the heart, it fills back up with oxygenated blood and then it's pumping it.
Okay.
So if you're not coming off the chest all the way and then you're just doing this, that oxygenated blood is not pumping.
It's
like
not
it
doing
should.
its job.
That's right.
Okay.
Exactly. So come all the way off the chest
And go down. Each time, all the way out, all the way down. Okay.
That's right. That's right. Ready? Want to do it together?
Yep.
One.
Which song are we gonna do? Cause
Oh, let's do y'all know Bruno Mars. Uptown funk you up. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
1, 2, ready, go.
You up. Let's funk you up, ladies and gentlemen.
I was waiting on that. There you go. All right. See how simple it was to learn? Yeah.
Okay. It's your turn.
Ready?
To be reacquainted. It's been a couple of years. And it's your turn.
Okay.
Okay.
I've never done this before.
Oh, perfect. This is absolutely perfect. We'll move out of your way. We're going to trade places. Okay. I'm going to get closer. So now it's Kelly's turn and Monique's turn.
So what I want to do is to start from the beginning. You see a teen or an adult go down. So I want you to assess the scene as you're walking up. Everything looks good. Everything looks clear. I want you to tap and shout. Hey, are you okay? Tap pretty hard now. Try to wake them up. Neither one of them said anything. So now what I want you to do is identify me by way of my shirt. So say something like, you in the polka dot shirt, call 911. Okay, go ahead.
You in the polka dot shirt, call 911.
There we go. Exactly. So that identifies somebody instead of somebody down 911. Exactly, right? All right. And then from there, somebody's calling 911. So now we're pressing hard and fast in the center of the chest. Arm straight on top. And then I'm going to do a beat for you. Looking good, ladies. All right.
I think we should tap out. Like,
Tap it. It does. About after 2 minutes, your quality of compressions does tend to go down unless your adrenaline is really, really going. Yeah, exactly. So switching off is important if somebody is there. Yes. It does, doesn't it? Yes, we have an AED trainer. So this will not administer a shock, but we have this trainer, right? Thank goodness. We have this trainer to show people how easy and how simple it is to use an AED. All righty. So the first thing that you want to do when you get any AED, again, when you are at an airport or at a baseball game, whatever the case may be, it looks like it's a heart with a lightning bolt in between it. You'll identify a sign, and then directly below it, there'll be an AED there. So the first thing that you do is turn it on.
Remove pads from package and apply to patient's bare chest.
It literally just told you what to do. She's going to keep reminding you.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest as shown in the picture. Second pads connector.
This is what she's talking about. These pads literally tell you what to do.
Does it matter which one is which?
Apply
Which side?
pads. Plug-in connector.
Maybe so, but it does show you on here.
Okay.
So actually, I'm going to have you do it on the mannequin here. So you will have to bare the chest.
Yeah,
Apply
we're getting
pads.
to the good part.
Plug-in connector.
There you go. Man or woman, you bare the chest.
Okay.
Okay. This one, that's pad number 1. Take the
Apply
sticky pad
pads.
off. The sticky pad off.
Insert connector firmly.
Above just a little bit. Perfect.
So it's really like above here. It's not below here. It's really.
One goes above there, and the other one is here. Down a little bit.
Insert connector firmly.
It's kind of at an angle a little bit. Just like, I mean, at the end of the day,
Apply pads.
something's better than nothing.
Insert connector firmly.
All right, so we apply pads, ma'am, and insert the connector firmly.
Do not touch the patient. Analyzing heart
Do
rhythm.
not touch the patient.
Do not touch the patient. Analyzing heart
So
rhythm.
at this point, you have stopped CPR compression.
Shock advised. Charging.
Shock advised, charging.
Stay clear of patient.
Stay clear.
Deliver shock now. Press the shock button now.
Go ahead.
Shock delivered. Start CPR.
And then you start back on the chest. Wow. Pretty simple, right?
It really is.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then at some point, if they're still down, it will say analyzing, do not touch the patient. And then you back off again. One thing that I do want to mention is that when it says that it's analyzing and do not touch the patient, you want to say clear. Nobody should touch the patient there.
And hopefully by that time, your 911 is going to be there, your emergency text, right?
It depends. It could be that 5 minutes, it could be that 8 minutes. But remember, like we said in the beginning, is that within the first minute of somebody going down from a cardiac arrest, if you get an AED on them and it administers a shock, their chance of survival is 90%.
Right, right. There's a lot here. There's a lot here. For people who said, I'd like to do this, I don't have a lot of time. How long should a class last? How much time should you devote yourself?
You don't even have to take a class. You can go to heart.org/nation. There are videos there, 60-second videos, 30-second videos that will teach you the life-saving skills of hands-only CPR. And it will show you, just like we did here. And it's so important because you can be ready for someone else, but who's going to be ready for you?
Right.
And so share that video, share those resources, share those tools. It takes you 30 seconds to learn.
So that's the point I was going to make with you, Kelly, is that you are a woman of service. You have served your city as a councilwoman, and now you are really serving with your organization. And so how do you encourage people? How would you encourage people to get involved in this? Because there's still so much stigma attached to this, or a reluctance on people's part to get involved. Not everybody has a friend named Monique, who had a heart attack on the job. Not everybody is able to save their mom. And it's very frustrating because people, we tell them, you don't have to do mouth to mouth. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do the other thing. And you can learn it in a matter of minutes. What's it going to take? And I'm asking both of you, what do you think it'll take to get people up and going and saying, damn it, darn it, I am going to be CPR certified?
I think it takes conversations just like this. Seeing people who look like you in spaces that you don't always see people who look like, where we're not always seen. But, going back to the very beginning of this, when you were giving out the statistics, and I thought it was really interesting when Monique said she had high blood pressure and she didn't know she had high blood pressure. And because she didn't know, it set off a series of events. And so our cover looks amazing. We are always selfie ready, but the inside of us, which is our book, is a horrible read because we're not taking care of it. And so as African American women, we do, heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, cholesterol, stress, HIV, we lead it. We lead it. And I always say, so what day do we get to be at the end of the line in some of these diseases? And we don't take it seriously. We don't think it can ever happen to us. It happens to Monique. It happens to my mom. It happens to my neighbor, but it can never happen to us. And it only takes a second. And so the idea of stigma is real because as Black women, we put that S on our chest and we're the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, and we don't have time. But
we have to make the time or else we're going to be out of time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so it's conversations just like this. And it's people like Monique. People like Quay, who shows up and she sings Texas Hold'em, and she teaches,
So we should have you in the club. That's going to be your assignment. You're going to go to the club, and every time Texas Hold'em comes on, we just going to have you whip out your dummies and just go to town, okay?
What a beautiful thing to have you all give this instrument of education on heart disease. And this is what we need, because like myself, I had no idea what cardiac arrest was before it happened to me.
Sure.
never even a thought in my mind about a heart attack happening to me. To me, a heart attack is an elder Caucasian man. Never thought a young, vibrant young lady, African American. So I am grateful that we have these type of settings and platforms. Please continue to do the work, because that's what we have to do, is the work.
So we're going to have you take a pledge. No, we should all just, and a good time to talk about this. We talk about this on this show in our other American Heart related programs that we do at the holidays. When your family, so, you're coming up on, well, this might not be the time, barbecue season, but at some point, somebody has to talk. We talk about our family history, our medical histories and things like that. And this is a good time to say, hey, I saw something about CPR, and there was a young woman that looked just like you and just looked just like me. She does selfies in the bathroom and everything. And it's time for us to learn how to do. As a matter of fact, let me just go to aha.org and we can find out, we can watch it, and we can walk away better educated, full, but better educated, right?
Yes.
Exactly right.
Absolutely.
And get everybody in the family. And what age do you recommend that people start learning to do CPR?
Yeah, so actually at the young age of about 8, depending on, we have bigger 8-year-olds, but about 8 years old, they can learn.
Now, we're going to tell them not to try this on the playground, right? But, I mean, that seems like where they're smart enough to understand what's going on and saying, hey, I saw this at Mima's house and we're going to, try this, right?
That's exactly right. Yes. And yes. But lastly, I did just want to say, just piggybacking off of what you said about being around family, more likely than not, those out-of-hospital cardiac arrests are going to happen at home. And so it's important when you're over Mima's house, Papa's house. I was just over my Papa's house to learn that and be there for them.
Have you done this with them?
I have.
How did it go over?
It went really well. I've done this at my church. They're so tired of me probably hearing it, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay.
Well, ladies, I want to thank you all very much for doing this. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for your time. And thank you for your guidance, Quay. We really appreciate it. We also want to thank you for joining us. This is something that really can save our lives. And if you don't believe me, just listen to these stories of these ladies who have told how it's changed the lives of themselves as well as others. I want to thank our friends at the American Heart Association, and especially the folks at Elevance, who have given so much of their time and been a support system for hands-only CPR. This is what we've been learning today, hands-only CPR. That is the easiest way we can save lives, unless we give them a divorce. But it is the easiest way we can save lives, and it's serious, and it can do a lot. I'd like to take the time to thank all the wonderful women at the American Heart Association. I know that there's some wonderful men, but these are the women that work with us here and help us to do what we do. And of course, we start with Angela Collins, and there is Tracy Bartok, Brittany Glover, and the heart of that organization, that is Arika Kaysen. Thank you so much. Also, a special thank you to Elevance. We can't thank you enough. And through the support of Elevance Heart, more than 11 million people have learned hands-on CPR. That deserves a round of applause. They go to events. They travel throughout the country. Wherever your church events, a lot of times at gatherings, you will see an Elevance organization there. And I want to thank them for that. They've been doing this since 2012. And too many people are afraid to act in a medical emergency. Learn CPR so that you can step in and learn the chain of survival. Now check this out.
When the time comes, we must be ready.
When every second counts.
Act fast.
Do not give up.
Push hard. Keep pushing when it's all on the line.
Be there for each other. Be ready. Call 911. Be ready.
Be ready.
Be ready.